things are still kind of fresh. Like we keep finding out new things about Emily and Colin, like just seeing things that they can do that we didn't know they could do. And there's just this like energy in that video that she brought this whole new energy to it that is like incredible.
Of all the videos that we're doing, this one is definitive of what From Zero is. The
Okay.
relationship of the band, the energy that we put out, the personality and the enjoyment we have together. It's all in this video.
It is Kevin Kenny, and we are joined by the gentleman of Linkin Park. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Now you guys are actually calling in from how do I say this? Bogota, Colombia.
Bogota.
Bogota. I knew I'd get it wrong. I'm from New Jersey, and there's a town called Bogota, so I just figured it was the same. But lo and
That's
behold,
funny. That's
you
funny.
guys were saying actually before we got started that this is the first time you're ever playing this city. How is that possible with how many shows that Linkin Park has done that you've missed cities? It's almost hard to imagine.
It
I
is
mean, this
rare. It's very rare to play a new spot, and it was it came up somehow on maybe Twitter or somewhere. But the last time we had played a new show, I think, was in Hungary on maybe the last tour cycle. But it seems like these days there's one or two new cities or new countries per cycle that we get to see for the first time, and it's always a good time.
Well, and it's
Hi,
a test.
Emily.
Oh, is Emily here
Hi.
now?
Hi. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Hi, Emily. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, of
Uh,
course.
we were actually it's a beautiful segue that you're here because we're talking about you guys are playing a show in a city as a band that you've never done before. And Mike, you were remarking to Emily in I guess a podcast, I don't know, you guys were just kind of hanging out recording. It was kind of a cool thing you did for the fans, or the hour-long chat between you two. And you were remarking, Mike, about how it's amazing how despite everything you guys have done, there's still new experiences to be had. And I'm curious to get inside your mind of going into the release of this album because the stakes are obviously so high. At least I would imagine, right? In terms of expectations, you guys have been, gone for 7 years now, and maybe it's akin to like following up a hybrid theory, but it's even different than that, right? So, what were sort of the emotions and the experience navigating the release of From Zero?
I mean, it's really complicated, you know. It's like a for me, um, it was if 2 years ago it was very overwhelming, and I think the best thing that we did was to just like look at basically let things happen in the order and at the timeline that they were gonna happen. Like let things happen organically and not push too hard. And I feel like what ended up evolving was just, we just naturally kind of found each other. We found this new lineup. We found Emily and Colin, and in particular, and the music just kind of came into focus based on what we were having the most fun doing.
So, listening to the album, it feels, it sounds almost like a return to roots, which I really love. Two Face is the new single. Well, you smile when I say return to roots, Mike. Why do you smile at that?
Because there's a part of it that like I love that there's such a strong Linkin Park DNA in the record. Like it does really feel like Linkin Park, but I think there's a part of it that's the old sound, and part of it that's every era of the band to me in the on the record.
Definitely. It's almost like I don't know if anyone's like a car guy at all, but like when they bring back a classic car, but it's like, it still has the DNA of that classic car, like when they brought back the Mustang or something like that, but it's new and improved. But you talk
Mm.
about that Linkin Park DNA. I don't know if how like, purposeful this was, but I love the little background chatter, even in the first From Zero, the first track. I mean, it really does harken back to like, where's my freaking Frappuccino, and these little like, you guys have always balanced even like the heaviness with humor on the records, and even, back to the mullet days and whatnot of the Linkin Park universe. Was that conscious decisions to include that little background chatter?
Was it? How did that happen? I just remember us having so much fun, and we're just like, yeah, just things kind of flow in that way when you're just having so much fun. That's how I thought of it.
I think for me, it goes back to the DNA question too, where I don't know if I know well what the Linkin Park DNA is. It's kind of like when you're too close to something, you just do it and then other people tell you, they almost like interpret it, and then you kind of say, okay, cool, like I'm glad that came across. But I think in any and all of that creation of an album or in working on new music or new stuff, or when there's, I don't know, interstitials or whatever you might want to call it, Kevin, for me those things are just like us doing us and figuring that out and moving forward. And in this process, like one of the things that was so fun and rewarding and cool and energizing was just how, when we started gradually integrating Emily and Colin, it felt like Linkin Park. It just felt like it fit for me and for us. And those were like the coolest moments in the entire process. Was just feeling like things were kind of gelling and coming together, and we're having a blast doing it the whole time. And so at this stage, being ready to finally have the album out, having people be excited about it, that feels great.
Totally. And Joe, I understand that sort of in the lineage or the journey to getting to where we are today with the album, there was an early meeting that you and Mike had where you kind of got coffee and just hung out and talked about all these Linkin Park what ifs. Can you take us back to that day?
Yeah, we've talked about that a few times. I think it was just we've known each other for such a long time. I had moved out of town at that point, so definitely wanted to make a point to see the guys whenever I had a chance. And so it became from us hanging out every day, going on the road or in the studio, to not seeing much of each other. So, with people you cherish in your life, you definitely have to put that effort in to just make sure everyone's okay, and just kind of, I guess, kind of reliving the glory days and like knowing that there's so much potential in what we do together, whether it's Linkin Park or just people that make art, whether it's music or a painting or just ideas. There's not a whole lot of people that I have that collaborative creative energy with, and the people on the screen, that's it. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of what ifs, but it was kind of like, okay, what if we were to do this again? And then it was more important than the goal of putting Linkin Park back together. It was just like, hey, how did this all start? It was just us hanging out, talking about life and things that we like, and how to reverse engineer things that we like in an artistic way. Like, I really enjoyed the spirit of that, and I think that's really where kind of things took off. There, it was just like, okay, let's get together and let's just hang out, and if we're making music,